Hey everybody, I'm just gonna level with you. There is about 35 minutes of me constructing and failing with this rocket, which is very similar. By the way, welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. Very similar to the rocket we used in our last episode, except instead of using the Rockomax parts, we're going back with some lighter parts that hopefully make it a little bit easier and cheaper to get to where we're supposed to go here. But I kind of want to master the gravity turn over the course of this episode. We're probably extremely late in doing so, I'll admit. But essentially what I've done here is just create a rocket that is asparagus staging all over again. And in fact, to make it a little easier to understand, we might as well get it all done live here. Because it's not a very complex rocket to build, honestly. It's complex to stage because it's annoying, but we can fix that pretty easily. So we're going to put 4 of these bad boys on. In fact, maybe we should do it with bilateral symmetry. It'll make it easier to stage later. So we put these decouplers on. And then we're going to take 2... I mean, you've seen me do this before, basically. We're going to take 2 level 800 fuel tanks. And we're going to place these bad boys down like so. We're going to use all swivels because they gimbal. Or they are gimbaling. I don't know if that's the correct way to phrase that. Now I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't believe these are connected to the decouplers, and this has been a recurring problem. Now, see, they like phase through the decouplers. It's a little tricky to get it sorted, but once you do, you're much better off for it. Like, it's much better to not launch this thing with these things not attached to the radial decouplers. Dude, I know that radial decouplers are important, but the stack decouplers never run into this stupid problem. The problem is if we don't have them attached to the decouplers, not only will they not decouple, but asparagus staging won't work because the fuel tanks are technically touching, and as a result of them technically touching, the fuel is automatically shared between them. This actually, like, is the closest I come to being extremely irritated playing this game. Just a needlessly annoying kind of like AI, not AI, but UI quirk. But anyway, this is now, like, we got nothing to worry about. These now work. So the next step is a quick, essentially, duplication of that. And then we take all of this. Place it like so. And it looks, these ones are asymmetrical by a little bit. Now they're a little high up and asymmetrical. That looks better. That looks actually quite good to me. Okay, so now, I mean, you know the drill at this point. We got to set up the asparagus staging, so we'll have those ones feed into the middle. Just a little trial and error there, that's fine. And these ones will feed into the outside. Looks like it worked on that side. Okay, on the bottom, we want 5 engines to fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get down here. Then these ones are gonna fire. Yes, actually. Then those ones are gonna fire. Oh my god, it's like we actually set it up properly. It's staged like correctly beyond that. Final step, structural. Launch stability. Actually, this is the second to last step, because another thing that I should do is put some control surfaces on it. And I'm gonna put Delta Deluxe winglets on the ones that are gonna last longer. I mean, we might want to have some on this as well, but I think this is okay for now, and just make sure that these are in the right spot. I also added a couple of barometers and thermometers to the top, just so we can achieve more science, because this mission, this video, is all about me getting some more science, preferably completing some of these contracts, although I'm not using the skipper engines anymore, so that won't work, but the Twitch engine will work for us, and we can get a lot of science data from the surface of the moon, hopefully. SAS on. Ah, 1 second. Revert launch here to vehicle assembly. We need struts. That's the final thing. The other thing I wanted to say is I've been reading up online about this gravity turn. And a combination of that plus your feedback has me believing that go straight up and then turn is not the right call. The right call is to actually start turning as early as possible, and that might lead to us not having as much of the potential chance of doing like an end-over-end front flip or something. So let's see if we can make this happen now. I mean, the takeoff looks okay. So we're gonna start by turning just a little bit here. And to be honest, it seems like the asparagus staging is working. The fuel's being siphoned at 3 differential speeds, or used at 3 different speeds, which is good. We're not gonna have a ton of thrust based on the fact that we're using swivels here, but the upside is that we're gonna have a ton of control. And we're kind of like wobbling a little bit here on takeoff. There are other stability enhancements that I have. Oh, Jesus, this is a problem. Let's revert flight. There are some other stability enhancements that I haven't considered, like reaction wheels and stuff like that, but I don't know if they're appropriate for a situation like this. Maybe yes, maybe no. Mostly because I've never used them. So I'm just gonna try to, I took SAS off because I'm naive and think I know better than the computer. I'm gonna try to let like natural aerodynamics plus a steady hand behind the joystick help me out here. You're going too far too fast. Yeah, okay. All right, so this thing clearly, it's not well suited to just turn immediately. It tends to get a little bit out of control, and I really don't think it's gonna be stable when we pop our first section off. But let's try one last time here. Just a little gravity turn right off the bat. Because I physically, or I should say on a physics level, you know, it's going to take a lot less fuel to fly in a parabola than it is to fly like the right angle of a triangle, right? So I understand that this is going to save us so much fuel. It's a necessary step. You know what? This is where you try to overcorrect and you mess it up, so just keep it steady for now. Yeah, so something ain't right here. Wow, you can point really well in that direction. Again, who needs space planes, right? Okay, let's take it back to base. Revert flight to vehicle assembly. I wouldn't, this episode I don't think is going to be a fan favorite. I'm just going to level with you there, but I think it has to be done. It's like a necessary growth into a better player. I know this looks, I was going to say hideous. Looks hideous. But I'm hoping like a stronger gimbling engine maybe can work for us here, even though it's probably more to do with the lack of symmetry, but... Mastering, or at least gaining some level of proficiency at the gravity turn, I think is gonna like change my Kerbal Space Program life. I think I learned a hacky way to do things before, and it never came back to bite me in the ass properly. Why are you flipping? I gotta know. Why are you flipping? I know this thing is capable of going straight up. It's not about making it go straight up. But I'll tell you what, let's wait, let's revert to launch, and we're gonna try, maybe we'll wait till we get to like 5,000 feet, and we'll try to do the gravity turn here. 5,000 meters, sorry. Sir, your Imperial is showing. Let's wait till we get a little bit higher up here. We could also reduce thrust, and that might make the turn easier to manage. But... honestly, like, we have more problems. Basically, when our first phase pops, we could flip end over end. So maybe this is just a good hallmark. I'll wait till the first phase of this is done. Why? I know we had this happen before. I just want to see. I want to see if I can dissect it in slow motion and figure out why we're turning our rocket into cruise missiles. So we'll just pop it like immediately here. I'm confused. Are they colliding with this big engine on their way down? Like they land on this. Let's do a... oh, jeez. I don't expect this to work, by the way. But I just want to see if I can get a greater dissection in the moment. Like, maybe this engine is so large that these things are actually colliding with it and it's pushing the boosters into us. So just allow me my moment of respite here. And remember, we can slow down. We don't have to be going at 1,000 kilometers a second. 1,000 meters per second, I should say. Yeah, so, like, I think it's pretty clear this is not going to work. Is it the engine's fault? And if it is, what do we put on it instead? I mean, we've... probably not a solid fuel booster, but hey, maybe. I don't know, dude. A solid fuel booster, though, doesn't really make sense because these are liquid fuel engines. That was almost like peak stupidity. All right, you know what? We'll put a swivel on it. I mean, that's basically what we were rocking before, and now we've created the exact same situation. I see the problem. Okay. Is it control surfaces? Like, come on, game. Meet me halfway here. I'm so eager to get that sweet stench of victory. And I feel like we're on the verge of making more progress. I'm not gonna suggest that we've been doing well recently, but I think, you know, we got a job in 1950 in a field that has changed drastically. So we gotta go back to school and shore up our resume a bit, you know? We gotta learn a little bit more about quantum mechanics and blah, blah, blah. Previously, it was like, just show up, bring a pack of cigarettes, we'll teach you how to fly a rocket. On the job. On the job training's the only thing that matters. Just the slightest turn. So what typically happens when I've tested this before is that I press the space bar and then my rocket does a front flip. No front flip. That's a great sign, I think. Oh, no, here's the bend. I see the bend. SAS brought it back. It's not a good gravity turn. But if we go more slowly... like, it's sort of inching its way over there. Let's look at our apoapsis for now. 15,000, that's fine. Maybe I was just trying to do the gravity turn in, like, one quick burst, and that was tantamount to astronomical suicide here. So instead, doing it, like, inch by inch, row by row, and maybe starting slightly higher up has helped us out here. And again, remember, stage one, just supposed to get us into orbit. Or very, very close to it, ideally. So this is what I'm worried about. Flipping end over end. Not flipping end over end. Okay. Apoapsis 53,000. $57. Usually you wait for like 70 or 80, so that's what I'm gonna do. Give it a sec. $70's fine by me. And remember, it might not look like we've done as much as we normally have, but we have a much more parabolic arc here, or a shallower parabolic arc, which is good because we're trying to make a circle. And what is a circle but the world's most shallowest parabola? Don't think about that, because it probably, in hindsight, doesn't really make much sense. T-minus 58 seconds. We're going to wait till 30 seconds, so... In reality, we probably want to wait till about 45 seconds, which we should be at right now. Position ourselves... roughly at the prograde marker. And the prograde marker is above the horizon right now, which is what we want. Because we want to, we got a pretty shallow apoapsis right now. That's right. I'm taking pronunciation cues from Quill as well. Let's get our contracts out here. So in this one, if we could test... our Twitch engines, I'd be happy. What about, like, thermometer, barometer? Nothing on the therm. Looking like a fool with your therm on the ground. What about our... That was a barometer, sorry. Okay. Let's go. No more silliness. Not quite getting the push out of this. I think it's because I'm accelerating too much in the... away from Kerbin direction instead of the around Kerbin direction. When I ran the intersection. This stage is not going to get us to orbit, but it's going to get us close. So again, we're still working on that. There's trial and error. And if we could transmit or recover scientific data from the moon as well, that would be nice. Ideally, we'll take some temperature and pressure readings from the moon. And just a lovely sound. Some temperature and pressure readings from the moon, and also, good lord, that's horrible. Some from maybe like the space around the moon. Maybe even some from a Noxuna moon. Alright, I think we kind of botched the flight here. I recognize it might seem like I'm blue-ballsing you. It's not my intention. Let's revert to vehicle assembly. I'm going to give this a little bit more fuel. And I know that that's rarely... God, I hate that. It's rarely the right decision, but hear me out. Maybe this time it is. That's the extent of hearing me out. There's trial and error associated with this, is all I'm going to say, really. So again, set it up with bilateral symmetry, and maybe the game will be nice to you. We're essentially recreating an exact copy of a rocket that we had earlier. I wonder if we can get away with a Reliant engine in the center, and then a like swivels on the outside. Or swivels in the swivel in the middle and Reliance on the outside. Let's try it just because I know the Reliant has more Hurden power. I feel like I'm making the same mistakes over and over, but one day we're gonna strike that balance. It's gonna be exquisite. Probably we want to move the struts down, but in the interest of time, I'm gonna avoid that at the present moment. Just make sure all these engines are firing at the right time. Give it a sec. Give it a sec. Everything else should be fine. We didn't change anything else, you know. Ironically, we got a highly cohesive and decoupled rocket that we're very zoomed out on. So the acceleration through phase 1 is going to be much slower, but the fuel's going to last longer. Now, again, what's the game plan? We turn... Not yet. There's probably a better way to phrase that. We don't turn yet. Turning early, too early at least, seems to create problems. So I'm trying to put like the world's slightest turn on this. And we also learned in the last launch, slow is fast, dude. Don't just go up and then like fold your rocket over on a 45-degree angle. Maybe some rockets can handle it. My rocket cannot. So just very slowly gonna bend. Can you help me to bend? I'm so scared that I'll never return Jebediah. We're getting a little off here. No. No! Okay. Maybe we went a little too fast. These are growing pains episodes. I'm more than happy to admit that. By the way, if you're watching this, give me your tips. Sincerely, tweet me your tips. Leave me comments. How do I make this more stable on takeoff? And specifically doing the gravity turn. Because I can make a rocket go straight up. But if I just keep making rockets that go straight up, sure, they're going to work. But they're going to be less efficient. And I'm learning the wrong way to do things. Which sounds attractive in sort of like a, I want to be a cowboy, baby, sort of way. But I don't want to be a cowboy, baby. I don't want to be a space cowboy. I want to be a gangster of love. So you have essentially done no gravity turn here. You're like 1 degree off of the top of the globe. But I have faith. Look at that. Okay, there you 2 degrees off the top of the globe. We ain't flipping yet. We ain't flipping yet. Stability assist has kept us in this. Start moving it. Just a little. Just a little. Just a little. Just a little, dude. Apoapsis, 12,000. Long way to go. Long way to go. Don't even worry about it. Just keep slowly pivoting. So it is flyable. Still say we're probably, I mean, that's the 45-degree angle, if I remember. Actually, I guess the 45, yeah, no, that is the 45-degree angle. So we're like not even halfway there. But we're making progress. No science, dude. Okay, well, we'll recover from some science from the moon, I suppose. We really have no struts connecting these 3 engines. That might have been part of the problem, and actually part of the reason that it introduces a wobble. Seems relatively sensible to me that that would cause some issues. Thanks for not exploding. 70,000. You know what? Let's save our fuel. Just, oh yeah, we do have a swivel on the bottom. So the swivel's not as fuel efficient, but it can steer us, which is the important part here. So I'm just keeping the throttle on, like, enough, because this thing's unwieldy. It's, like, super top-heavy. We're flying like a big old cylinder here. That angle might be fine. T-minus 53. I think we should just start accelerating, honestly. Give ourselves as much time as possible to stretch this. I do kind of like... going to accelerate slightly above, and I might be making a mistake here as well, and this is another one I encourage you to kind of hit me up with your feedback on. If we accelerate above the prograde marker, shouldn't apoapsis keep going up? Maybe, but it might not go up at the rates that we travel to our own apoapsis. However, yeah, like we're slowly approaching apoapsis here. I have like a mental block, like if I reach apoapsis, then, like, it becomes so much harder to get to orbit. We've slowed down the speed at which we're reaching apoapsis, but we're not extending the vector that much. I've forgive the term, mind-effed myself out of my ability to actually make it to orbit. Used to be like a no-brainer. But I thought the general gist of it was, you just accelerate along the prograde, and eventually you will reach orbit, but... I don't know, this might work, it might not. We don't have a great engine on this section. It's one swivel, pushing like, you know, probably like 100 and something tons. It'll get the job done eventually, but I'll admit that it's probably inefficient. But straight up, like, it's time to get the show on the road. And have, like, a semi-successful, launch, ideally. This vector is, like, so slow at getting around. So, I mean, I should really write something down on a list here. One of the things that I would like to see is, a better engine for this stage. Particularly, like, our middle booster. I almost wonder if maybe one less fuel tank. I mean, we went one more, but what if one fuel tank instead of 3 is actually the right way to go? So we didn't quite make it into orbit on stage 1, but we made it close, which I'm gonna count as a rip-roaring success. Wait until we hit like 60,000, 55. I don't want to use too much fuel is the thing. Sweet, good job. All right, so again, it's all about trying to make it back from the moon here, and I don't think we've really done much to improve our chances, but. All right, let's fly to the moon and then take science data there. So step 1 of getting to the moon, as we know, is a maneuver node, which I'm still learning about. Just, there we go. There we go. Moon encounter in 1 day. Not good enough. Moon encounter in 3 hours. Good enough. So in 18 minutes, we're going to burn for a minute. That's no problem. And this is where I've really got to dial in, because there's no reason, in my opinion, that this thing can't make it back. We're going to use, well, actually, no. I still think there's no reason this thing can't make it back. Get science, return, and then, honestly, like, gain some confidence. Unfortunately, we can only go speed 4 for right now because my orbit sucks, but I'm genuinely looking forward to feedback from this episode, because I want, I want to get better here. Even though sometimes it might not seem like it, I genuinely do. And I think this one has us, like, we're missing, it feels like one of those situations in which we're missing one very, very vital thing that I'm not keeping track of, and as a result, I'm putting myself behind the 8 ball here. You know what, in a way, it's kind of nice to be in such a low orbit that I actually can't go on speed 100. I mean, in a way, it's super annoying as well, but Well, now, like, the problem as well is I keep going through, like, the same steps in my head. I'm like, well, what if we just used the skipper engines and we made the whole bottom Rocco Max fuel? Well, sure, that'll work fine, except for the fact that now you've built the exact same rocket that we had last time. But now I'm like, okay, what if we use 2 fuel tanks instead of 3? That might actually get the job done. Well, it's going to take us, I mean, like 2.5 minutes here. Might as well keep myself pointed. Maybe like turn off SAS. Save us a little electrical charge that we might need later. Because keep in mind, if our engines don't have alternators in them, we're not able to recover electric charge, which means that we can't use SAS to reposition ourselves when we come in on re-entry to the planet. Oh my god, the lack of a mouse lock, dude. I'm losing my mind. Okay. Just stay cool. You think Neil Armstrong got mad at the lack of a mouse lock? Let's look at this. We got 1 minute and 44 seconds of burn. That's 104 seconds of burn. That means at 50, or node in T-minus 52 seconds is when we should fire. Still a long way to go. At speed 4, it's at least a minute. I mean, our apoapsis and our periapsis are pretty close together, so I think we have to get above 100,000 meters distance from Kerbin before they'll let us speed up beyond this. But maybe it's an okay thing that it went like this, potentially. We'll find out at least. 4 minutes remaining. No problem. I mean, we could have also adjusted our maneuver to do it faster, but in the end, I don't think it's a big deal. I am feeling a little starved for progress lately, but I'm genuinely trying to synthesize your tips here. Do more science. I know that EVA Kerbins can take science back into the vessel with them, which is why I bought the astronaut complex upgrade, so they can do EVAs. 52 seconds. Then asparagus staging has been a bit of a rocky road, but it has helped us. I truly believe that. Build more efficient rockets that aren't just piles of solid fuel boosters. Now, maybe we could use some solid fuel boosters as well. Mix a little bit of the old with the new, you know? But once we're capable of easily landing and returning from the moon, I think that's when we can get Jebediah. And oh, you gotta stop it. You missed it by like 9 seconds. But hopefully at that point, we can also get a lot of science at the same time. And this science will allow us to build a rover that can bring him home, so to speak. So I'm trying to use like no SAS. Which is annoying. This trash bag engine is so loud, dude. Which is annoying, but at the same time, if it saves us the electrical charge that we need to SAS on re-entry, that's important. I don't know if we're gonna have the fuel required to enter orbit around the moon and then land. We probably will. Although, actually, I don't know now that I look at this, because I think we're going to run out of fuel before this phase of the burn ends. Which means we're going to have to use lander fuel to approach the moon. But not much, hopefully. So yeah, we're not going to complete that contract. So be it. This is Apollo 13 now. At all costs. How in the world was this supposed to... I might actually be losing my mind. Two hours. What happened? You still gotta burn for 45 seconds? Sincerely, I apologize. This is one of those episodes. Normally, I think people are, you know, helpful, but maybe a little harsh sometimes, like a bad teacher. This time, I do find myself sort of being like, oh no, baby, what is you doing? You're not supposed to burn for 8 minutes. Slow your roll. But we up here now. You know what? This might give us a good chance to do some science. It's still worth 0? I guess we're technically still in space near Kerbin. Okay. Alright, so we're supposed to burn 44 seconds. We have 26 electric charge. Dude, that's not much. Stay cool here. So I had 22 seconds remaining. We're going to do this. We're going to burn for 44 seconds. That's going to use up more fuel than I'd like to admit. But so be it. It has to be done. Maybe we should have SAS on for the burn. Or maybe I can just pilot effectively. But we need that SAS because our final stage doesn't have any engine. As a necessity because the engine would explode on re-entry. So instead we have the SAS to orient ourselves so our heat shield is pointing downwards. Assuming we gave this rocket a heat shield, and if we didn't, I'm going to be just the saddest boy in the world. But it's kind of nice going to space with you guys. Thanks for accompanying me. It's been a little bit of a rocky ride. I'm not going to argue with that. I hit X by accident there, which is a little embarrassing for me. There we go. Alright. The moon encounter. 2 hours. Warp me, baby. Okay. So we're not going to go into orbit this time. First things first, we're going to see if we can get some pressure data. Ooh, baby, I love your way. Okay. So 1 thermometer and 1 barometer. It's a little bit of science in my life. Now give me that hot retrograde action, remembering that we need to keep enough fuel to land, take off, and then slow ourselves down upon re-entering Kerbin's atmosphere. This is where I could use some trademark Northernlion luck. Sorry, this is my mistake. We're actually supposed to wait until periapsis and then burn at retrograde. So let's warp here. I believe that's correct. At least that's what I've been told. Why don't we add a maneuver just to be sure? So that puts us into orbit. Okay, so at least maybe we've accomplished something positive. I want to burn as little as possible. So anything that just... There you go. You will now collide with the moon. You're going to have a ton of velocity when you do it, but you can fix that en route. All right. At least we've learned about maneuvering at periapsis instead of waiting, and we're being a lot more conscious of our electric charge as well. We got to wait 12 minutes here. I'm going to be honest with you. I give us about a 25% chance of making it back. We messed that up a little bit, but no big deal. Just a waste of our fuel that we need desperately. So, improvements to make to this thing? Dude, put some batteries on it. Generate some electricity, okay? And then we do still need to rework our rocket design, although I'm ashamed to admit it. Because, like, not being able to use SAS here is silly. Or feeling like I'm not able to use SAS here is silly. I'd like to get this pilot some experience as well. That would be another good reason for doing this. I think the maneuver is technically handled. Yeah, should be good. Warp me, please. Now comes the fun part. And I mean that sincerely. Landing this thing is always a fun time. I gotta focus a little bit. But it's gonna, I mean, we're gonna land, I think. Taking off is gonna be another story. We really gotta conserve fuel on the landing. But like this stupid retrograde marker. I'm just wary of getting too far away from it, lest I, like, lose sight of it. Which is probably not a genuine astronaut concern, more like a genuine idiot concern. But the further away we get from it, the more it moves as we accelerate. I give us, like, such a low chance of making it back. It's clear we need to work on our game plan here. Okay, you've accelerated a little too much. Maybe we can, again, what did I tell you? This is Apollo 13. Maybe we can do some, like, slingshotting around the surface of the moon, and then it will just take us directly back to Kerbin, and we'll be the world's luckiest individuals. Okay, well, bring her in, boys. $62,000. Keep it up. You only get one shot at this. Just want you to know, good luck. We're all counting on you. I don't want to have to brake twice. It's my favorite James Bond movie. You only brake once. Electric charge is like almost dead. We're still using electric charge just to move. So you know what? I think I'm incorrect here. Just put SAS on. Well, they're both not great. But I should be, I think, less worried about electric charge. More worried about landing this bad boy on the surface of the planet. I also think we're landing in a crater. Just a little, just a little, just a little. Might have dodged the crater slightly. This I do require focus for, sadly. He says while doing his freaking barometers, but... Look at that. Okay, 8,000. Oh, the fuel's looking not so good, huh? Decelerate. Okay. Landing is still special to me. Anytime I land this sorry, sack of silicone here, I feel like a pretty smart dude. Nine electric charge. But really much more concerned with fuel right now. I feel like we have learned something over the course of this episode. The periampsis maneuver to the moon, it might be small, but it's something, and basically, I'll take what I can get at this point. But we still got fuel-related problems, no doubt about it. Come on. Redeem this video with at least a decent landing. No. Let's go. Look at that. Okay. I don't think we're making it back. Let's pretend we are, though. Be a scientist. Think science, douchebag. Can we just add a maneuver, like, right here? Nah, you gotta set up a trajectory, huh? Like, I don't think we want to go that. Maybe we do want to go that way. I don't know. But this thing's going in this way, so isn't it easier to go to this direction? I don't know, man. Just don't miss and end up in the Milky Way like a train song. Look who we got, a train song now. Let's take off, close doors. Basically out of fuel. There's no way we're making it back, but I mean, there were positives and negatives. We practiced landing a little bit. This is gonna crash land us on the surface of the moon. Should be running out of fuel like any second now, unfortunately. Well, close but no cigar. So I'm going to revert to vehicle assembly. We got a lot more work to do. But thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Remember, I know we've had a rocket that's made it to the moon and back before. We're trying to do so with a more efficient style than we've previously been using. Maybe it's for the best, maybe it's not, but we're working it out. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I appreciate the constructive criticism. I'm looking forward to learning more. Tweet me, leave comments, etc., etc. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.